Okay, we got a microphone today. We got a little microphone on an old pair of headphones. Hopefully this makes the audio better. I wanted to talk, I've been thinking about depression and how it has affected my life and the different ways that I've coped with it. And I know that there are a lot of people in the world right now that have depression, especially in this country. And so for someone who has dealt with a lot of that, I'll probably make other videos on this subject in my history. But I wanted to take you through something really quick, a quick exercise that might be a far shot, but it's something that has changed the way that I operate my life and has helped me in small ways, in a big way. So tell me if this sounds familiar. You take a lunch break or something at work and you eat food that most people would consider to be normal, like a sandwich or, some rice in meat or something like that. And you feel yourself beginning to want to fall asleep. You feel like your body is shutting down, basically. And you don't know why, other than like, oh, I must not have gotten enough sleep last night. So I'm sleeping like shit. And what's really happening, and this is something that I've experienced for years and years until I figured it out, is that you are injecting your body with carbs and glucose that make you crash. There's also an afternoon crash. But more specifically, when I eat a lot of carbs in one meal or multiple meals over the day, for me, I can't do that. And I have stopped doing that. Because for my entire life, I ate what everyone would consider to be normal food. And an hour, 2 hours, whatever, after eating that food, I would feel like my entire body was literally shutting down. I was like, I need to sleep right now. Like my arms feel weak. I feel like I can't do anything. I feel like my brain is falling into a black hole right now. And I'm at work, so it's demanding of you and it's putting stress on you. And the more stress that's put on you, the more you can't do it and you're shutting down and you just want to quit. And then what happens, at least in my brain and probably in your brain, is that you feel like you're losing control. You don't have control over yourself, because I slept last night. I woke up, I did all my things, and all of a sudden now I feel so tired and so drained that I can't control how I feel in this situation. I'm trying really hard to focus. I'm trying to dial in, and I just can't. And so that lack of control over your body sends you into a spiral where you're panicking. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can't I just, and it makes me so mad where I'm like, why can't I just be a person right now? Everybody else around me is doing fine and they're just working, and I'm lagging behind because my body feels like it's shutting down. And it took me so long to figure out that it was because I was eating carbs. Like, I was eating like something that your body basically processes as sugar, or even sometimes sugar. And I don't know if I'm diabetic or whatever. I probably am, like pre-diabetic. But this has been a cycle in my life that I have lived out so many times until I finally changed that. I think really for me, what that does is it makes me feel powerless. It takes power away from me, that I don't trust myself or my own body. And then that leads to an anxiety, which leads to, well, I can't control my life, so I just shut down. And for me, many times that has led me to a feeling of depression, because even after the crash happens from the food that you ate, the mental fog, the mental state that you get to from that lingers. And you just feel defeated, like you can't function. And so then that happens, and maybe the glucose fucking spike goes away and you're fine. But that didn't change your mental, because you're all mentally fucked up now, where you're like, well, I can't control my body. I can't control myself. Like, I don't have power over my own being. So what could I possibly do in the world that's useful if I'm just, my whole being is shutting down? And so if that is, if you can relate to that, perhaps try that. I know depression, there are so many other facets of depression. And I'm not saying that for me, that was the main driver in my seasons of like really bad depression. I'm not saying that that was the main factor. There is so much other work that has to be put in to get rid of that. What I'm saying is that is a contributing factor for myself, where I know that if I'm in a week that's going well and I'm in a good mental state and I feel like everything is even and balanced, and then that happens, it makes me question whether or not I have control over the depression. And if that's relatable to you, consider that. Consider that maybe if a doctor didn't diagnose you outright with like a diabetic whatever, that maybe you just, your insulin, your pancreas or whatever just isn't made for the standard American diet, or you just can't handle it. And that's fine, because I'm that way. I can't eat normal. I cannot eat like a sandwich from Jimmy John's and then just be fine. My body will freak the fuck out, especially if I have stress on me. If I have a day off and I crush a sandwich and I get sleepy, maybe it's not a big deal. But if there are people depending on me to perform, it makes it all that much worse. So look into that for yourself. Try that. Gain a little bit of control over your body by just seeing if that is something that happens for you. Because that has been my life since I was a kid. Since I was a working child, that has been a struggle for me. Working child. I wasn't in the mines at 13. Just working jobs. And school. Where you are expected to focus during class or something. That for me has been really important, and it has changed a lot for me to gain control over the amount of the spillage of everything when I shut down in that way. And I'll make more videos about this, but start with that. If that is something that you think might be an issue for you, start with that. I would highly recommend cutting out high carb food and see how that affects your depression in whatever way it can.